What is going on, Fightful Faithful? We are back here today with another interview with Mr. Niall Foxy Fox, Ireland's most well-known referee. Jesus, that's a mouthful.
Yes, it
Uh,
is.
how are you doing today, Niall?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I can't complain.
That's good to hear. And we're going to start at the beginning for you. And just out of just curiosity's sake, what attracted you to being a referee in professional wrestling? How did you start? How did you get your first gig as a referee? Kind of.
That was out of necessity. So I started out as a wrestler, and I wrestled under a mask. So therefore, like at the time, the promoter decided nobody knows who you are. Right, let's get you out there. You can ref the second half, or you can ref the first half. So that started me off as a referee. So, which was handy enough. It gave me a lot of experience, and I was learning a lot quicker as well because I'm constantly out there. I'm constantly in front of a crowd. Then eventually it started becoming the wrestling was getting less and less, and the refereeing was getting more and more. So I was like, okay, this seems to be what it is now. So, but yeah, I've been doing it solidly as a ref since 2010, but I've been involved since 2006. So long time.
Do you ever miss wrestling, like being in the ring and wrestling, or is it kind of something that you've made peace with not doing anymore?
Yes and no. I miss it, then I don't miss it, and then I see a lot of the talent that's around now, and I'm like, I'd love to just mix it up with them just to see, like, can I keep up with them, or can I at least do something to help them? And like the last couple matches, the matches that I do have, they're sporadic, and it's more of a novelty as opposed to as it being a full on wrestling attraction. So I'm always like someone that if it benefits the show or if it helps the show, happily. Like if that means like, okay, like we're gonna have you out there, we're gonna have you wrestle, like who knows? Like it could be the biggest person, like could be Big Damo, it could be someone else. Like we want you to get absolutely destroyed. Sure, if it helped the show, like absolutely do it. But have I made peace with not wrestling again? No. Like there's still a few that I would love to do before I decide to close that door. It's again, we're all chasing the dragon, as it were, like to find that right that way. That's your definitive end, like of that side. But I have fun regardless, whether like I'm reffing or wrestling. So it's just that now when I do have matches, it's allows me the chance to be a bit more creative because I have to approach it from a different angle completely, and not from a wrestler standpoint. From oh yeah, I'm a referee. I've been that way. That's all people know me as. So how do I approach that, like to make it entertaining or give you moments to remember, so and be different from all the fantastic wrestling you're going to see of everyone else on the show. So, but yeah, like I haven't made peace with it, but I don't rule it out. Like I am getting older, we all are, but I don't rule it out. Just never say never, as they say.
Never say never in wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah. So you did say it there. You've been doing refereeing actively since 2010. Like obviously the most important role of a referee, everyone knows, is to take care of the talent's health and make sure they're okay. But put that one to the side as the number one rule. What would you say would be the number two rule, or the second most important part of being a referee? Other than counting the 3 count, of course.
Well, that is important. No, like apart from being there to take care of the talent, make sure that like everyone's safe at all times. It's very important that you are essentially the proxy for the promoter. And if they are given a certain time, it's your job to keep them on that time, because again, nobody wants to go to see like a 4-hour show. Like no matter how solid of a card you have, people are going to be burnt out. It'd be like that WrestleMania from a few years ago, where before they started doing 2 nights,
Yeah.
it's just burnout.
Yeah.
So my job is to try and keep everyone on a relatively tight schedule. Like I'll probably get information about like, right, they have a bit of leeway, they have a bit of leeway, keep them short. Like it, that's my job, and I have to try and do my job to the best of my abilities. So does it work all the time? No. people, some people take the piss. Some people, it's needed, because as a referee, you are also the third man in the match.
Yeah.
But because the wrestlers are focused on giving you the best match possible, like, yes, we are there to help them put on the best match possible, but we are also there to dictate the pace as well, because we have a chance to listen to the crowd. And if we feel that the crowd aren't into it, we can tell them, right, move in, like move on to something else. Let's get this going. Like pick up the pace, or all right, they're really into it. Take your time. Let's ride this wave, and then we get back into it. So like you can dictate the pace of a match, and it's fun. Like especially if you have like Ireland's been very, very fortunate to have like such top level like talent come in and mix it up with our own, and to tell great stories, as well as put on fantastic matches. To be the third man of that, especially a long running storyline, to have a hand in being able to produce the best match possible, or to help add to the match, whether it be by like, okay, like right, uh put a cheer to the crowd, or like hit this and then pose, like just something like, or right, me taking a fall or taking a hit. It's and in, and getting that reaction that gets people like, oh, like it sucks you in and it adds to the match. So or one of those really big like delayed 2 counts, it just it, to get that like where everyone is counting, and then to deny them of it, it's
Yeah.
like 1, 2, oh,
Yeah.
like that's the reaction. You're just like, they were so ready for it to be 3, but it's like, no, we'll take
It's a
away from you for a moment.
it's a
Love that
brilliant
reaction.
part of it. It's a brilliant part of wrestling. I agree with you completely.
Mm.
Even sitting at home when I'm watching, like I don't think people understand how much referees play into the psychology of pro wrestling in general.
Mm.
So that's a good point. But you mentioned delayed 2 counts there, and I think for some delayed 2 counts, you do end up having to take a certain level of bump before it. You've had several as a referee. Is there any of them that stand out particularly where you were minding your own business, doing your job, and all of a sudden you were flying through the air?
There's been a fair few over the years. So was a few years back, I got a shotgun drop kick from Walter, like
Oh
Gunther or Walter at the
yes.
time. And yeah, people thought I died. So like things like as I said earlier, like I'm very, very happy to, like, if it adds to the match, or like if you need me to do this, if it really helps, then absolutely, like I'm all for it. The big difference for between a wrestler and a referee is that the referee is almost a he's almost
Human.
a proxy for, yeah, he's not superhuman. So like he's
Yeah.
not like the wrestlers where he can bounce back a bit easier
Mm.
from these big hits. I have to die. And that's a great benefit. Like
Mm.
if I can make you react in a way that's like, oh no, that was nasty, or like, like, is he okay? Like check on
Yeah.
him. Like that that helps, and I love being able to do that. Uh, Again, the old wrestler brain is just like chasing that reaction, and chasing
Mm.
the the way that kind of tempo. But um, obviously the shotgun drop kick. I've been hit with a chair by Mark Haskins. That wasn't nice. What else? I've been put through a door in Wolverhampton. Not as bad as I thought. Like, but the super kick beforehand hurt like shit. So, but was it the? Yeah, like I've had a lot of bumps over the years, and it just again too many to kind of recall, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
that's why like I purposely put it out in the ether as like, right, if someone can put a compilation of all the times you've seen me like take a bump or fall, like please send it to me because I want to see that. Because
I'd love to see that as well.
so if someone is out there like and they're putting it together, please send it to me because I want to see that stuff. Because sometimes I forget about like because like I've ref so many matches and it's sometimes the shows do blur into themselves for me. So sometimes my brain needs like a little jump start to remember of certain shows or what's there. So it could be something as simple as like, right, do you remember this bump? It's like, no, what was on the card? It's like,
Yeah.
it was this match and this match. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It just takes that little bit of extra, like, like, spark, as it were. So, but I
And
enjoy it.
yeah, I don't blame you in the slightest. So you did mention Walter / Gunther, and you have refereed for some of the best wrestlers in the world. Some of the best wrestlers of the last 20 years have come through OTT or just other promotions around Ireland. And I'm just wondering for you, is there someone that you walked out of officiating a match and you realized, wow, this person it really is as good as everyone says they are? Or did anyone surprise you? Or something, just basically who really blew you away, maybe would be the proper question asked there.
So since day one when I met him, and I met him when he was only like 17, but Pete Dunne is just amazing. Like I consider him top level, like talent. Like it just so good, like ridiculously good for his age. Just absorbs wrestling, and like that's why he got to WWE like at the age that he got. Same with Tyler Bate. Like it's just because they started really young, and they've constant access to different schools, different shows to get experience a lot quicker than say over here in Ireland, where there's only a handful of schools and shows aren't as regular as say in the UK. Like the UK can have shows virtually every day, whereas we can't.
Yeah.
It's not feasible.
No.
But Pete Dunne, Chris Hero was one of the first imports that we had to actually stop and pull me aside to give me feedback, and which nobody had done. And I'm not saying that as if like I'm
You
no,
appreciated it.
no, I appreciated it because no import actually like just took the time to say like, yeah, I'm very happy with what you did. If you did this, like you could have actually done this, or when you're doing this, dude, like change that. It's like things I didn't notice I was doing to be like he picked up on in the short space of time that like we worked together, and it's like that made a big difference because I didn't have it's not like there's a school where you can go and learn to be a referee. Like there is wrestling schools, but unfortunately everyone that goes into wrestling school wants to be wrestler. And it's like the horses with the blinders. It's just like, no,
Yeah.
I need this. But for me, there was no one before me that was still going to actually pick the brain of and be like, right, how do I go about this? Or what do you do in this situation? I had to learn on the job. Like, and a lot of situations that like can be extremely scary or nerve wracking or stressful. Because again, have I messed up? Yes. Will I mess up again? Possibly, because it's very likely to happen. Nobody's perfect, but if you can learn from your mistakes in say a match or like in your training, then absolutely, like that's absolutely fine. I can't argue with that. But my God, like Ireland has just been extremely lucky with the talent that we got, like especially the import side. I mean, wow, like name it who's who, and chances are I've probably refed them, and it's crazy when I say that because I've refereed for talent that are now in WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, Dragon Gate, New Japan, like Jenny Mac. If literally pick a promotion, TNA Impact, like it's just there's talent from everywhere that I've actually either officiated or been involved in one of their matches, and it's crazy. Like, but in terms of people that just blew me away, like Speedball Mike Bailey has been really good. Like, Big Damo's been a massive help to the scene ever since he came back. Love working with him. Just knows how to be a big man, and that's something that's not taught as regularly. So to be able to pick the brain of someone that knows how to be what they are, they're comfortable in themselves, and they can actually teach that to other like trainees who are in that spot. It's amazing to see, but he's fantastic because he's also a great source of like encouragement about like, right, he'll answer questions and like, but he'll also encourage you to be like, why don't you put this together and like send it out? Like it might do you good. It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to bother. That's where you're wrong. Like all this is a very Irish thing that he has told me. It's like, we don't want to be a pest. We don't want to be a burden. And he's told us, no, you kind of need to be pushy and in their face and constantly on them. Basically torment them until they finally give in. Just like, here, take it, go.
Yeah.
But again, my God, like I can't, like, it's very tough to kind of narrow down like the major imports that are like super like either beneficial for the scene or just beneficial for the promotion or the country. There's been so many over the years, so it'd be unfair for me to like really like try to. I couldn't name them all because Ireland has actually been very lucky in that any of the imports that we get all benefit the country in some way. And even if it's not visible on, say, a show in their match, could be backstage. They could have had like words with one of the trainees or production or otherwise. Like, but again, everyone has their own talents, and it's just a case of like, right, you may not notice that this person is really good at all like backstage stuff, or good at production, or good at like composing a match, or like whatever it is. So each import has their own talents, and some of it doesn't get like shown front and center. Like some are just ridiculously talented and they can do almost anything. Like look at Will Ospreay, like how far he's come. Like that's crazy because when he showed up in OTT the first time, like just a different person, like completely different person. Like he was a twig of a person. And now look at him, he's jacked. And he's like on AEW. It's like, yeah, like so. But me as a referee, I get to see the journey. And I'm very fortunate. Like I get as much joy out watching someone, especially from their first matches to either accomplishing winning a title or getting their first booking abroad or otherwise. Like it's amazing for me to be involved in that and to have a part in that, even if it's just to help them in a slight bit. So
yeah. So you did mention there, Big Damo. There was a match on Gaff Party Dublin that you didn't officiate. Adam Maxted did officiate it. 70-minute match all over the Red Cow complex. Did you give Adam any tips beforehand? No, he went in blind.
Yep,
No.
he went in blind. And
So, as a referee,
Yes.
What did you make of Barry's rules? So they were very specific rules. So I just want to know what you, as an official, thought of Barry's rule book.
It's bollocks. No, I joke. I joke because like he has done that idea before in the past in a tag match
Yeah.
where it was himself and Danny Cross against Aussie Open,
Yeah.
and the trying to stay straight faced during that is impossible. Like anytime I work with Be Cool, he always makes me laugh, and I like sometimes it gets to the point it's like, Barry, would you stop? I'm trying to. This is supposed to be a serious moment. Come on.
Yeah.
But like, Be Cool, I love him. He's just. I don't think he gets enough appreciation for how good he actually is, because yes, he's super entertaining, he's funny, and he's constantly putting out content to get people enticed into what's coming up next on shows. But I mean, like back
Crap.
now,
Hope
that
hope
that
you're
wa-
back.
that cut out there like a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
No.
That's great. So last thing you were saying was about you were just saying about Barry not getting the appreciation you think he should.
Yeah, because again, like he does. He not only is entertaining, but like he does all the stuff backstage. He's helping lads put together matches, giving them ideas. He's also coming up with ideas for storylines for other people, or giving them little tidbits of like where they could go, as well as like just like helping Cabre with like either booking ideas or how to get out of a booking situation to like again, he's just multi-talented. Some of it doesn't get looked at as much, but again, he he's the polar opposite. Like it's crazy. Like so, the best characters are yourselves torn up to 10 or 11, and with Barry, like he's a barrel of nerves before he goes out there. He's a barrel of nerves thinking of what he has to do. Um, but when he gets out there, you would never know. Somehow he sheds that when he steps through the curtain, and it's amazing because like if you were to ask most wrestlers, actually, like they would probably say the same thing in regards to themselves. Like it just there's something about when you step through the curtain or when you put on your gear, it helps you almost relax in a way that like as soon as you step through the curtain, you know full well, right, it's showtime, and whatever nerves are there, they're gone by the time you go out there. It's crazy.
And so just kind of rounding back to best kind of ever like occasions. Is there a match that you've refereed that stands out above the rest for not only the match quality but the reaction when you count the 3 count for the win? Like just that kind of moment where everyone kind of erupted based off you counting the 3, basically.
Yes, there's been quite a few of them over the years. I like I'd be remiss if I didn't say like Jordan Devlin against Walter. Like it just again, uh, the lead up to Jordan going after Walter like is a big deal. Like like everyone was so behind like Jordan, and then you had a great heel in Walter, like this monster of like a heel that just nobody can beat. So for him to win the belt back, uh, I think it was Scrappermania 5, if I recall, in the National Stadium, just to hear 2,200 like plus just erupt like with the tree, it just that's a crazy feeling, like because you're just like in that moment, you just hear this wave of people like, and you're trying to process it. And it's like, wow, like that shows that like all the work that they put in like has paid off. They had people behind the match from start to finish, like, like that. I think that'd be one of our best ones, like in terms of reaction. We've had a couple of other ones where like obviously like once there is a good story, like with very believable characters, then people will follow along. And if you pay those storylines off in the right way, uh, yeah, like the crowd will go with it because it's the conclusion of what they've invested their time and effort to stick with it. And like sometimes some people like stick with a storyline for years. It may not get a payoff straight away, but again, it's a long term, brick by brick building towards this. You may not see it at the time, but when the finish comes, it's just like, now I see why. This is what it was all for. And just some people love it, some people hate it, but again, you cannot deny that reaction when it happens. So, um, yeah, like have I had other matches where like I was absolutely delighted to be a part of and actually just like lucky to be a part of? Yes, I've had quite a few. Like I got to ref one of Jushin Liger's last matches. Like that's a big deal in itself, and it just, I mean, fortunate enough, like we had Minoru Suzuki. Like I still think that if we booked him like for another show, he is just gonna kill me. I don't know, because he's tried to twice, and I think that if we finally do book him the tour time, he will make do on that. And to be honest, I kind of want to see if he'll go ahead with it. That's the weird thing about it. I'm actually hoping he does, just to prove I was right. But
Braver
no,
man
like
than I am.
man, but like we've had amazing talent. Like, yeah, like I see. I mean, like I've worked with that many people that I'm just like, it's really tough to just like, oh yeah, which are the best matches that I've done. And if you go back through like OTT's history, like it's a who's who with top quality matches with some of the best in the world, mixing it up with some of our own, as well as being mixed in with others, like some of the other best of the that the world has to offer, and some dream matches. I mean, like we were the first promotion to get Will Ospreay and Ricochet after they'd done their match in Japan. Like we were the first promotion to land them, and that one's a crazy match to be involved in because like they have like a big 20-foot ring in Japan, but like over here it's 16 by 16, and you're just like, it's so tiny. I need to get out of the way. Like, I don't have enough room to move.
Yeah.
But like stuff like that, it's what makes it fun. Like having dream matches like that, and just to be a fly on the wall as well. Like to like even though like I don't wrestle as frequently as I did, like to be able to like just earwig and listen to how they put together matches or how they structure a match, it's crazy because everyone has their own system, but and some are just aliens when it comes to it because some people don't use words at all. Like I'm looking at Robbie X and Leon Slater for this one because like those two insanely talented and not a word was exchanged. Like it was just all body language and oh, I might do this. It's like, what is going on here? Like, but to like to see how they plan it and then execute it, it's crazy. Like stuff like that is absolutely madness. But
And you mentioned it there, the kind of the chaotic nature of wrestling, especially with, as you said, the smaller rings that OTT and the rest of Irish promotions use. But there's been, and I'm going to point to you. You mentioned one match from Gaff Party there. We talked about the Mario match. The main event of that show was probably one of the best main events in recent memory for OTT. And you were involved in it. There was chairs flying everywhere. Jay decided he wanted to do the 450 through the table. You had to help him to the back. You were a busy man that night, but just
Yes.
in those kind of chaotic environments, do you ever kind of get overwhelmed or kind of lose track of where you're supposed to be, miss your marks and so on?
Yes, I will say that that kind of thing has happened more so in the early days of OTT.
Yeah.
Um, as I said earlier, like when you're put into these different situations, if you can learn from it and it through experience, like you can better handle certain situations, especially if they arise for another time. Um, and obviously, we had the situation where Jay did the 450 in Wolverhampton, and unfortunately, like he got split open, and yeah, like that's a scary moment. Like you have to take care of them there. So therefore, like when the idea was presented that he might do this spot again, we're like, right, we're getting this prepared now, just in
Mm.
case. So if this has to happen, like we have our backup plans in place. It's just like, right, we need him out here now. Like he's hurt or he's not hurt, and like again, we can, if he can do it in a safer way, then yes, we can use it to heighten the drama or the intensity of a match. So, but it is a case like with early OTT where I either my inner fan comes out and I'm like, this is deadly. It's like, oh wait, sorry. Oh, I was supposed to count. It's
Yeah.
like I'd forget. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can get away with it if it's in the confines of like say a comedy match or a really good spot has happened and there's a wave before like say a pin.
Yeah.
But if it's supposed to be high drama, high intensity, like that's when you have to step up your A game and be like, right, I have to be on point for this. I know what this is going, what's happening here. There's been an instance where uh like certain some things were supposed to happen, they didn't, and plans have to change.
Mm.
And again, for as a referee, my priority is people's safety. So if I get any kind of like warning signals or if something rings my alarm bells, I'm like, okay, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Oh no, he's getting up a bit strange. Like I've never seen him sell like that. So it's like
Yeah.
you kind of get your it's more instinct and gut feeling. So you have to trust that and you have to commit to it. Be like, no, look, I'd rather stop it now, get you checked, and have you be able to wrestle in future than let this continue and potentially hurting yourself further or your opponent.
Mm.
Um, like when we first came back from lockdown, I think it was our first show back, which was in Belfast, and it was a match between O'Mari and Terry Thatcher, and so like the match was good, like it was nice pace into it, looked really scrappy, and then um you do forget how strong Omari actually is. And Terry being Terry is just like, he's so light.
Yeah.
So when Omari picked him up for a scoop slam, Omari used to just chuck people.
Yeah.
But because he's so strong, Terry over rotated and then rolled his ankle on the way down,
Yeah.
which anyone that hears that is instantly like,
No.
because you've
Not
been,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not nice. You've been there before. It takes ages to heal that. But instantly when I seen that, I'm checking him, making sure he's okay. Can he continue? But they continue on for another few minutes, and uh, a little bit later, Terry gets a rogue for him. It does happen. Kind of caught him up right on the nose, so his nose started bleeding a little bit. So I'm checking him the entire time. It's like, are you okay? Because I'm also doing it to check, like, right, he's after getting a bad knock on the nose. It could be maybe there's a concussion, maybe there's not, but I have to do the check just to make sure. It's like, you okay? Okay. They're coherent. They can do this. Okay. We'll continue. Literally, like, I want to say 30 seconds later or 90 seconds later, Terry goes for a poison rana. And unfortunately, Omari is so damn tall. But I think they kind of probably underestimated, but like maybe, but I don't know. But whatever way Omari landed, he just lost the power of his body after. So whatever way he came down on his head, he lost the power of everything. So he's lying flat on his face, and I'm checking on him, and it's like, can't feel my arms. Right, that's it. Bye. Ring.
Yep.
Medic straight away, and you will see that on the VOD that it's like, right, medic, boom, over, because you have to be able to make that call and be like, look, your safety is the biggest concern, and when you say you can't feel your arms, right, that's it, bye. that's the massive warning. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has there ever been like and you don't have to like name who it is, because I don't know if it sounds bad the way I phrase this, but has there ever been someone who you could see was hurt but didn't want to admit it, didn't want to stop the match? Because we all know how stubborn professional wrestlers can be. You don't have to say who. I'm just curious if there's any
Yes.
stories of someone being very
Yes.
stubborn. That's all.
Yes. There's several, but like I will regale one at the moment. So a good few years ago, I I was reffing a tag team match, and unbeknownst to me, one of the wrestlers was going in with a concussion. But this is like, now,
Yeah.
this was he kept that quiet like all the way up to the match. Didn't know. There was no indication of it, but he knew. And when we started the match, everything was going okay. Then suddenly it was like, okay, a big drop kick is after happening. Okay, that's not a nice bump. Someone else got knocked in the match. So I'm checking on them. Meanwhile, person in question gets I think it was a slam or something, but like then he's down, and the remaining two, they have a quick exchange, but whatever way the move went, it just went rogue. And again, so one went in with a concussion, 3 walk out with a concussion. So yeah.
Wow. That doesn't sound pleasant in the slightest.
Doesn't sound pleasant. Again, this shows you some people will keep their injuries quiet.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of either, right, I really want to do this match, and these are either my friends or these are people I really respect, so I'm making sure I do this match. But at the same time, you also risk their health and yours even further by doing that, because if you're going in there with a concussion, already your brain is bruised. And if you go in there and get another knock, that can make it worse. So much so that you have to take months and possibly years to recover from that, which we all know the stories about Daniel Bryan, like Bryan Danielson and the likes of Edge with their necks and like the concussion protocol and all that. But like, again, you'll still get some people that'll tough it out just for the sake of, like, there'll always be other matches. That's the thing. Like, everyone is so worried that, right, I will lose my spot or I'll lose my place on the card if I admit that, like, I'm injured, or if I'm hurt. There's always ways around it. Like things like a concussion, you cannot take chances with that. Like, really, like, you only have one brain, and if you're gonna go out there and say, like, I'm gonna risk it, like, I'm only like whatever 18, 19, 20, whatever, like early 20s, it's like, I'll be fine. No, like, because concussions affect people differently, depending on how severe it is. So again, I'd rather someone say to me, right, look, I'm like I have a bad arm like today, like I'm just we'll work around it, but like if something comes up, like at least I'll let you know. That's absolutely fine. There's always ways to work around like certain injuries, but at the same time, like certain injuries require you to rest. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And again, when people aren't being informed that they have an injury, it's like, it can cause trouble like for more people than it should. But it happens, unfortunately. Is it the first time? No. Will it be the last? No. Like there's no way I can say like it won't ever happen again, because chances are there's gonna be other people that think like, oh no, I'm the best, or I'm tough. I can handle it. Like I can. No, relax. Like the whole deal about wrestling is that like you want longevity. You want to be in there for as long as possible so you can learn as much as possible. And some people don't heed that warning. I mean, look at me. Like I've gotten far longer out wrestling as a referee than I have as a wrestler, because unfortunately, back when I wrestled, like I used to make stupid mistakes as well. I used to think like, oh yeah, I'll take that bump. I'll do that, like gladly, like not thinking about, because as a teenager you're thinking like, that's deadly. I just want to wrestle. I want to do this and that. And, no, like as I got older, I'm like, no, just the thoughts of doing that. It's like, ow. Don't get me wrong. There's sometimes where I'm like, yeah, I'd probably take that bump, like if it was me. But at the same time, like I'm older. I'm just like, no, I don't want to be sitting down for 6 weeks and be like, ow. Oh.
So today we've talked about a lot of different things. Taking care of stars that are injured, Barry being Barry, big stars coming in, working with them, getting feedback. But we haven't really talked about one in particular. 8th anniversary last year. John Moxley finally came to OTT. It took a long time to finally get him over, multiple hiccups that had to be resolved. But that match itself was kind of a mixture of everything that we've kind of talked about today. And I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on that match in particular, work and Mox and Barry together at the same time. Because I found it to be one of the most perfect, like, hardcore matches I've ever watched in terms of just hilarity and seriousness at the same time.
Like I love working with Barry. Like Be Cool is like just fantastic to work with. I was excited about the idea of working with Mox. Wasn't too keen because I am not a fan of deathmatch wrestling. I think that there's not enough people that can do it right, and even then, just the idea of tearing your body up for the sake of getting a reaction is like, you desensitize people from like the violence, and like where do you go from there, especially on like cards that have multiple death matches, like the tournament of death and stuff like that. Like it's just crazy. It blows my mind. I know there's a market for different aspects of wrestling for everyone, but that's one of the aspects that I don't get. But as I said, there are some people who know how to use the violence to put on good matches. Moxley is one of those. Like he is not only a top level WWE, former WWE like superstar, he's also like top of AEW as well. It's just that in AEW you get to see more of his deathmatch side, and he understands what, okay, there's an elevation in danger, but at the same time, the weapons that are used are relatively like safer than say like a sheet glass, or like these like tacks is nothing new to wrestling. Like barbed wire or a chair, or like these are not new weapons to wrestling. Like they're fairly easy like to handle, but he finds a way to present that in and look like he is going to kill this person. But it is scary, regardless, like whether it's he knows what he's doing. It is a scary match to referee because at any moment I'm looking at Barry thinking like, right, I might have to stop this because he is bleeding a lot. Because all like, even though like a lot of people like might get busted open, if you catch the wrong part of the head, like
Yeah.
that, it could be in an Eddie Guerrero situation where
Yeah.
like he's lost so much blood he could go into shock. Like you have to be careful about that.
Yeah.
And not only that, especially like bodily fluids, like blood is like, again, you have to be super safe about like how you handle like things like that, because you can't really be touching them when they're bleeding, and you can't be really getting the blood everywhere. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you could risk infection. You could cause like problems for someone else. Could even like splashes like to people in the audience, and it could go wrong. But again, as I said, it's a scary match to referee, but the story going in had people hooked, as well as having Barry's sense of humor show through at different moments. So it kind of broke the tension
Yeah.
at the right moments, not just for the sake of doing it. So yes, it's scary. It was fun. It was a hard match to actually like officiate, but again, once everyone came out satisfied with the product at the end, that was our main goal, and they succeeded in that. I mean, I think Mox lived up to the hype, especially after 4 years of waiting to get him. But again, I, I I think it worked out better because we had to wait 4 years,
Yeah.
because he also had time to really establish himself outside of the WWE window of perception of how people see him. So people knew exactly who John Moxley is, as opposed to Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked it, but like I wouldn't be jumping at the chance to ref it again.
Yeah. To be now, like I said, that is one of my favorite matches, but I wouldn't want to have that pressure on my shoulders either. So before we finish up, I've got one more question for you, just for anyone who is trying to be a better referee, is learning. There's someone who gets called upon to ref every now and again on shows. Someone who needs the advice. If you could give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like I know it sounds silly, like, and you would think it'd be an obvious thing to do, but uh, if you're brand new into wrestling, you're probably like very shy or timid and afraid to go up to these big wrestlers who've been around a lot longer and ask them a question. Like you might think, look stupid. No, there, there's no there's no stupid questions when you're trying to learn and get better. Like it's important to you that you want to know. So therefore, like it's important. If you're asking me, then I need to give you the best possible answer I can within my knowledge. And if you are starting out, like, yeah, ask questions, pick the brains of everyone that's there. Like, even if they're not wrestlers, like, just ask. And even if there's someone there that you really like look up to, even ask them, can you just have a look at this next match and just let me know if you see it and that I might need to work on. Like just for that feedback alone, like that'll make a big difference. But don't. Uh, the one thing I will defer people not to do is stay in the one place. Go work everywhere else. Like work anywhere you can. Work different people, different crowds, because you will learn a lot better than being in the same little town every like month or every few months. Because when I came up, I did 3 years solid where I just traveled around this country, and I was working different towns, different crowds. I was working with the best crew possible. So I had no choice but to get better and to do it fast. But it also gave me great skills in being able to listen to a crowd, gauge what their interest is, what kind of reactions they're given for certain spots, whether they're haha or they're looking for serious, or if they're looking for like, right, they may not be into wrestling, so let's kind of like ease them into it and explain what wrestling is, true stuff. To be able to tell future later matches, that makes a big difference, because you're adding to the show by making it better, because they can adjust accordingly to the crowd. So work everywhere you can, work different promotions, different towns, and work with different people, like, because you can get very comfortable working with the same people over and over again, and that's fine. But if you really want to get better, you have to take yourself out of your comfort zone. You have to be uncomfortable with what you're doing to get better. I know it sounds very strange, but I think that'd be the biggest thing. Work everywhere. Work everywhere. Good shows, bad shows. Just, you will learn from them.
Cheers, Foxy, for sitting down for this interview. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Do you want to tell people where they can find you and where you're going to be refereeing next?
So they can find me on social media. I'm very easy to find. On Instagram, I'm Fox Niall. On the L Twitter / X, I think it's Niall Fox 23. I think it is, as far as I recall. But yeah, like, they're like, I'm on Facebook as well, but like, that's more personal. But mainly Instagram and X. It's what shows do I have coming up? So the next show that I'm involved in is this Saturday in Nace. It is for NLW. And then after that, my next show isn't until, I know OTT have a show on the 7th of April, but I'm not going to be there. So, which is a very rare thing to happen.
Yeah,
But like,
I was about to say I'm going to be there, and you're not even going to be there. Oh, that's
it's crazy. Like, I've only missed like 6 matches, 6 shows in the entire span of OTT. So yeah,
that's impressive.
my record with like being at shows is good. So, but yeah, like, just any upcoming Irish wrestling show, like, just go check it out, go support it. Check out the VOD, so OTT on demand, like, because there's an entire back catalog of like shows and stuff there. Like, some people don't realize how many people actually have walked through our doors, and the matches are great. Like, so now it's a product of the time. Absolutely. There's a lot of different stuff that you won't see nowadays. But again, it's nice to go back and see the evolution of OTT. Other than that, like, support Irish wrestling. So support your Fight Factory, your Irish Wrestling Alliance, RCW, Hard Knocks, like Titanic, like everywhere. Like, just support Irish wrestling, support your favorites. Like, if it means like buying an 8x10 or something like that, because that will make a big difference to their day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
All right, guys, that's going to be the end of this interview. If you are new to Fightful Overbooked, make sure to subscribe, like. I will have more interviews coming later this week and next week. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.